Richardson, Texas. Look out. SOAR Championship Wrestling presents SOAR Mania, Thursday, February 13th at the Richardson Civic Center. Bell time is at 7:30. This Mania you don't want to miss.
At the Jerry Bullet Training Center, we truly believe experience is the best teacher. With over 50 combined years of knowledge and experience in sports performance and athletic training, our coaches understand exactly what it takes to achieve your goals. Contact Melvin Bullet at 214-326-7853 or visit their brand new facility just outside of Waterview at 8900 Princeton Road in Rowlett.
Being taken for a ride? Check out Costco Insurance, serving Texans since 1981. Bundle your home, auto, or business insurance to save a ton. Costco Insurance on the corner of Main Street and Rowlett Road, where we make insurance fun. Or check us out on the web at CostcoInsurance.com, where we always have the coffee pot on.
Yeah, but is it fresh?
Let Buffalo Creek Doors and Floors help you restore your home to its like-new condition. Need a contractor? Let us be your first stop as well as your last. Want to see what kind of work we do? Check out our Facebook page and you can see the craftsmanship you'll receive and expect from Buffalo Creek Doors and Floors. Give Rodney James a call at 214-536-2607 or check him out on the web at www.buffalocreekdoorsandfloors.com.
Are you looking for a new home? Want to know what your house could sell for in today's market? Then you need to contact Realtor Jeremy Morgan with Ray Hubbard Real Estate Group at Keller Williams Rockwall. Whether you're buying, selling, leasing, or investing, he can help you get where you need to be. That's 214-236-2914. Jeremy Morgan with Ray Hubbard Real Estate Group, Keller Williams Rockwall.
At Wesson General Contracting Incorporated, we're your one-stop shop for all your general contracting needs. So roofing, gutters, sidings, fence staining, painting, foundation problems, or roof damage are no problems at all. Give us a call at 214-200-5588. That's 214-200-5588. Wesson General Contractors, proud sponsor of the Rowlett Eagles radio broadcast.
RowlettFood.com. Do you want to have dinner delivered but you don't want to use Uber Eats? Contact someone locally that can do the same thing at a better price and faster. All you have to do is pick a restaurant on the list at the website, tell us what you'd like to order, then check out. Check out RowlettFoods.com. Give us a call at 972-408-8002 or check us out on the web at RowlettFood.com. Custom. Get happy. Tell us what you love. We're your local neighborhood window covering experts who truly understand your needs, so we deliver the perfect solution for your home. So check out Budget Blinds of Rowlett, serving Rowlett, Wiley, Saxe, and Garland. Give them a call at 972-722-9300. Budget Blinds of Rowlett, where we listen to our customers' needs.
At Nest Egg Wealth Advisors, we have found many people either approaching or currently in retirement failed to truly maximize some of the benefits offered to them, primarily Social Security. It's simply not a benefit that you start receiving at age 62. If you would like a complimentary copy of Social Security Maximization, please give our office a call today at 972-412-6064 or visit us on the web at nesteggadvice.com.
Liberty Air and Heat. Everybody knows what the Texas Heat can do to your air conditioning and heating systems. That's why you need the experts that deliver the best and most honest service in the Rowlett area. We provide the high-quality air conditioning and heating services that keep you more comfortable when you need it. So contact Liberty Air and Heat at 469-678-9444 or visit them on the web at libertyairandheat.com. Ever want to know why Bill and I look so good on our broadcast? Check out K West Designs on Facebook. You can take a look at our pictures and see the quality of the work that comes from K West Designs, especially if you have a special occasion. Just get on Facebook, look up K West Designs right in the search bar, contact them directly for questions or anything that you may have regarding your personal design.
Welcome to the Couch Potato Sports Show, your internet radio home for all sports, news, and talk. Join Sonny Clark, the hardest working man in sports radio, and the Eagle Eye, Bill Cerna, and the best co-host anyone could ask for, Cuervo. We cover it all: NFL, NBA, MLB, NHL, as well as indoor football and high school sports. Now, it's time. Here's Sonny Clark.
Oh, yo, everybody. Welcome into the Couch Potato Sports Show. It is me, Sonny Clark, the hardest working man in sports radio, and we are here on our show. It's called Just Because I Wanna, a show that's not scheduled. It's just when I wanna, and there's been a lot of things that have been going on all week. I was wishing that I could get in and do this show on Wednesday or Thursday. Business put me in a place where I could not do so, but it was actually a good thing because of some of the things that we'll be talking about here tonight we can cover. Now, remember, on the Couch Potato Sports Show, don't forget about tomorrow night as your Rowlett Eagles. They will be taking on the Saxe Mustangs. Our coverage starts at 7 o'clock. Guys, we are not doing video on it. I did video because we were having a problem with Blog Talk Radio. So that being said, we're going back to Blog Talk Radio. I had a password problem. I had changed the password and I forgot on my equipment that I brought, so we were unable to get it on Blog Talk Radio. So we did video. It served okay. It just wasn't as what it was because we were on a wireless situation there. And sometimes when we do this show, I do it via the Ethernet, so we always have a pretty good line for us to do the show. All right. So that being said, so don't forget about the Rowlett Eagles and that game. It's at Saxe, 7 o'clock for the pregame show, 7:30 tip time. And again, sometimes depending on what happens in the JV game and the girls' games before that, sometimes it goes a little bit later. We'll keep you informed on that situation and whether or not that is a situation going into that game. Also, don't forget to check us out on Sunday. Sunday, normally, we're going to actually start Sunday's show on at 11 o'clock on Sunday. We'll take the 3 hours before we kick off and get it into the games that are going to be happening. They start at 2 o'clock Central Standard Time. So we'll go ahead and we'll come on air at 11 o'clock. Use the 3 hours, maybe not, maybe so, maybe whatever we'll end up talking. On Sunday, though, I'm going to bring in the godfather of fantasy sports. I'm going to bring on to Mr. Lenny Melnick and talk a little bit about the Astros situation and now that's, and so I'm not going to cover any of that because I'm going by learning. I am just reading the headlines. So I want to get down and dirty. And the guy that knows a lot about this would be Lenny and or Andrea, the goddess of fantasy baseball. Those two knows fantasy baseball better than anybody in the country, and I'm proud and glad to know that I know them. I'm not very good at fantasy baseball. I haven't played a lot of fantasy sports lately because I am the hardest working man in sports radio. So, checking that all the time and keeping up to date is not as easy as it used to be during the day. So that being said, so look out for that. And then, by the way, we'll also turn the corner and get back up there on Tuesday as your Rowlett Eagles varsity basketball team will be back in action on Tuesday. We'll be bringing you that. So we had the game, game on Tuesday night as the Lakeview Centennial Patriots pretty much wiped out the Rowlett Eagles. A bad start for them, 12 points in the first half. It's going to be hard to win basketball games. And that's pretty much, and never mind the fact that they were playing a team where they had 3 starters that were over 6'6" in the lineup, and they only had one at 6'7". So it's kind of hard to get around that as far as that's concerned. So it'll be a real interesting year for the Rowlett Eagles as well as the Lakeview Centennial Patriots. We'll be checking that out. So, guys, just because I posted earlier today, and just to let everybody know, I did put out an invitation for one McKendrick Harper to come on my show. One thing about McKendrick Harper I want to talk about, because when I look at this guy on the football field and what folks that don't know who McKendrick Harper is, in the indoor game, first of all, I think it's a better product. I love indoor football. Ask anybody who really knows me. If I had my choice, and I've said it before, I'll say it again. If I had my choice to go to a championship game on an indoor level, to go to the Super Bowl, as much as, the Super Bowl is what it is, I'd rather go to a championship game at an indoor facility and watch the indoor football game. That's how much I love the game. And also being the director of operations for one Champions Indoor Football right up here. I'm not very good at this pointing thing, so I wouldn't be a good weatherman. And there's the Rowlett Eagles right there. And when I did the play-by-play for the Texas Revolution. So, but this guy, as far as the indoor game, and I don't care, and you can say AFL, NAL, IFL, CIF, this guy is the shutdown corner in the business. I'm just telling you right now. And this goes back to the year when Terrell Owens was on the Allen Wranglers back in the Indoor Football League. Where Terrell Owens was there, the year that he played, McKendrick Harper ripped down a pass that would have either A, been caught in the end zone for a touchdown, or B, do what ended up happening with McKendrick Harper. He, with one hand, brought that thing down, and that play, it was a floater in the corner, and that play right there still gives me nightmares, and I mean that. And I don't remember a lot of plays as far as the games are concerned. Sometimes I get reminded or I'll see it again, but this is one play that I remember through indoor football. It's one of the biggest plays I've ever seen, and I actually called that one, and it was in the playoffs, so that was another thing. So McKendrick Harper stopped the then Allen Wranglers from moving on into the playoffs, and he's still been doing it ever since. So much so he's playing for the Salina Liberty in our league, the Champions Indoor Football League. So I invited him on. He's got a lot of business that he was not able to get to, but he was very vocal on my Facebook page. Now, folks, just to let everybody know, I do Facebook, and I get it when I get time. You'll see that I'm not on there every day making a post about every day. I do post about some big sports news, and that's pretty much what I try to keep myself to. Although I'm not the biggest Trump fan in the world, I try to stay away from that as much as possible. But that having been said, I will talk about sports. And because obviously we have been doing the Couch Potato Sports Show. Folks, when we move into February, we'll be doing the show for 11 years. Okay. So 11 years of doing sports, that's just what we do. And with the report that came out, by the way, and here's one thing I want you to do. If you get up on my Facebook page, you'll go down and you'll see the article. You read the article, okay? Read the article, but also do not forget to see the video. And there's a reason why I'm saying this, because that video right there, it just explains a lot, at least to me. At least to me. And I can't claim to be the smartest guy in the world. I went 2-6 in the first 2 rounds of the playoff. So I'm not very bright when it comes to it. But when it comes to, things that happen, and I don't know if it's because of the position I hold with Champions Indoor Football, kind of got to keep track of the discipline and stuff. I don't know if it has a little bit of that, or more in the fact that if I didn't hold that position, how would I feel? I don't think I would feel the same, or I don't think I would feel any different than I do now regarding one Odell Beckham. Now, guys, you also got to understand on this thing, catch that video. I want you to watch him and see what he does. Okay, and we'll get into that. And I want Cuervo. Cuervo's going to be on with us. We haven't had him on for a couple weeks, so good to have him back. So he'll get online here in a couple minutes. But the video really just, you go back to the Ray Rice situation, and when you just heard words about a certain incident with him and his girlfriend, the words probably didn't do the amount of justice that the video did. Okay. Now, we are talking about a situation. Now, before we even get to that situation, you got to go back to, I don't know, maybe a half hour to 35 minutes before that, where Odell Beckham, by the way, LSU grad, I had to check that out. I was wondering why this is such a big deal. So he was there. So earlier, he handed out money to these players. Now, there have been conflicting reports whether it was real money, fake money, or whatever it was. But what it still was, hi, I'm Odell Beckham. I'm here. It's me. Yeah, we won national check. But hey, I'm Odell. So, and he's seen the cameras, and he played up to the cameras. There's no question in my mind he did. So whether the money was real or not, if you're LSU, you have to ask yourself a question. How much do you want to distance yourself away from this guy? Because not only that whole situation, it just brings a bad image onto your program. You say whatever you want about it. It could be the cleanest program, as far as reputation, but one Odell Beckham can go out and change that. Now, I'm going to tell everybody, and I've talked about it on this show before, and I have not wavered. The biggest amount of corruption in college football is among the top 50 colleges in the country. I don't believe them. And listen, you can have somebody in front of me tell me that, they don't cheat or do whatever, don't hand money, don't have the kids taking tests for anybody else. I've read too many articles, and I just don't believe them. And I believe corruption's all over the place. Now, the NCAA has made it that way because of their strict rules and things of that sort. Okay. Now, I'm going to just go in there. Hey, these are the rules, and these are the rules that should be followed. But obviously, the rules are not always followed for everybody. Obviously, you can have a great cover-up and be great and just have a great cover-up. And having, everything that you need, whether it's people taking tests for guys and the consistent cheating and the staff that will be willing to give someone a D so he's passing so he can play on the weekend. Listen, I think that goes on at every college, with every major college within the top 50. I think it's happened. You can't prove me any differently. And I don't know, good, bad, or indifferent. That's just the way I feel because I don't watch a lot of it because of that. I really don't. The national championship I watch because, geez, for some reason, I guess, January 1st is not good enough for these games to be played. No, they just got to stretch it even further. So, got to do that. Played the national championship on January 3rd. Was it 13th? Anyway, it was past the 10th. It was way past the 1st. New Year's traditions are, New Year's Days is sitting there watching national champions or at least a good bowl game. And didn't, it is. But you look at Odell Beckham and what he did with the money. He brought unwanted need, suspicion, or ideals against them that they did not need. And this was before they even get to this incident that we will talk about here. All right, so before we even get that, we got him out there. Now, there's some ways of saying this. And my father, who has been Mr. Blunt his whole life, the way my father would put this situation and what is going on is a guy out there showing his ass. That's the way my father would say it. Just being as blunt as he can be. And I think I agree with that. I think hi, it's me. It's Odell Beckham. Look at me. Look what I'm doing. It's Odell Beckham. Oh, no, we didn't win the championship, but it's me, Odell Beckham, and he's slapping money in players' hands. Now, first of all, that's dumb. Second of all, he brought the unneeded attention onto the program. Regardless if it was, we go back again, says that the money wasn't real and all that crap. But so then I ask him, why did he do it? Why did he do it? And I don't think that's a question that's out of line. Why did he do it? Because he's a diva, maybe? Maybe that's why. I would love to hear an answer. I really would. And those that defend him, I guess I got problems with that defending of a guy that does this. So it doesn't end there. You would think it would stop right there. No. No. Now Odell Beckham is in the freaking locker room. Now, you want to talk about LSU probably wishing they never gave this guy an all-access pass. Oh, boy, they're living up on that. Oh, man, we should have never given this guy all-access pass. Because not only that, he goes into the locker room. And, guys, you got to watch that video. Okay? There's video out him slapping the money in the players' hands. That video's out there. And there's also the one regarding the police. Now, guys, this is one of these things where it's, again, so Odell, hi. Now, the video will show a police officer, not a security officer, by the way. Okay? This was a police officer. And what I'm trying to still figure out, and someone may or may not be able to tell me what this was all, but another player was being chastised. Whether my understanding was someone was smoking, I don't know what they were smoking. I really don't know those details. And really it didn't matter because the video was so intoxicating to watch an Odell Beckham and his eyes and his opportunity to go out and make it all about Odell Beckham again. Hi, it's Odell. Yeah, we won a championship, but no, it's Odell. Hi. Now, I've had many people get on my page and talk a little bit about this, and I found it very amazing. I really did. I found some of the answers, but I'm just at some point, and again, maybe this is me. Defending stupidity is becoming a full-time job for people that like Odell Beckham Jr., that like Antonio Brown. You're defending stupidity on a very high level. Now, I bring in Antonio Brown because he is not a guy that, is putting himself out there in a good light. So much so his agent dropped him. I mean, this age after the video, hey, video tells a lot of stories. And the deal with Antonio Brown, the foolishness that was going on there, the ignorance that was going on there, didn't have to be there. But it was, hey, I'm Antonio Brown. And that whole girlfriend thing, all that stuff needed to just stay behind closed doors, and we didn't need to have this. If the police were called out for a reason, the video I was out there was to promote himself. And here's the thing, that promotion is going to completely backfire. Guys that honestly think that we're going to see Antonio Brown in an NFL uniform, I will be shocked, completely shocked. Whether he ends up playing in another league or whatever the case may be, whether it's Canada, whether it's the new XFL, I don't know if he will ever put himself in that position where he will go and do that. I don't know. See, I'm not going to answer that. I don't know what his motives are. But I saw the video, guys. Guys, it's hard to defend stupidity. And I don't care where you're from. I really don't. Don't matter where you're from. You know, I've heard some people say this is culture. This is just the way Odell is. This is just the way Antonio Brown is. Well, okay, then they're idiots. That's just what they are, idiots. And I was chastised for posting this on my Facebook page. And I just want to know, when did we just be able to, you know, take away from someone posting on Facebook like I did about a situation where I've been doing sports for 10 years on the Couch Potato Sports Show. So this is not like it's politics and I'm sticking my nose in politics that I don't necessarily know all the pieces about. You know, I obviously more of a expert in sports than I am in politics or anything else that anybody would cover on a talk radio show. Okay. And I'm out there talking. So here's one thing that really just bothers me, and I'm putting it out there. That I can't post anything because of my beliefs of what maybe Odell Beckham Jr. and Antonio Brown are. And we're not allowed to criticize them. We're not allowed to post. Now, you know, and I'll go back to McKendrick Harper on my page was saying, well, you didn't post anything about Julian Edelman. Well, if you watch the show, which probably doesn't, and that's fine. I'm not everybody's face. I ripped on it. I ripped on him. You want to talk an idiot? Julian Edelman is an idiot. That move is an idiot move. Now, McKendrick Harper wanted to kind of talk a little bit and asking me if I thought that was assault, what Odell Beckham did. You watch the video. That's exactly what it was. That was his plan. Because if he would have done that same thing and that cop was turned around and he came and he slapped him across the face, of course it would have been insult, especially the way that he did it. It was like a sneak attack, and for some reason, and what this was, at least in my eyes, and I don't care, I'll just say it. What I saw there was someone trying to get the attention off of the situation that was going on, about why the policeman was talking to the young man. And again, I think it was about smoking. Now, to his credit, he took a bomb for the guy. And but you got to question why. There was no need to do that. Zero. And that's the point. That's the whole point of this whole thing. There was no reason to do it. None. And all of a sudden, I'm getting bashed up on Facebook. You know, well, you didn't say anything about Julian Edelman on Facebook. Well, guys, folks that don't know, I took my knee out, okay? All right, so, you know, I've been walking around with crutches, got a knee brace and everything else. So I was even lucky to get on the last 2 Fridays because I've been dealing with a knee injury and working and still trying to. So, you know, sometimes I didn't get online, and you know, I didn't post it on my Facebook page. But the guy's an idiot, so I don't know what people want from me. I know what the insinuation is. I don't appreciate it, and I'm not even going to talk about it. But you know, sometimes life gets in the way of social media. Now, we're spending too much time on. Now I'm not spending enough time because I didn't throw up this article. And by the way, I ripped the Big Ben up and down half of the other when he did his nonsense too, which that was another thing. Well, you didn't do that. You don't listen to the show. Go back 10 years and you look in the archives and listen to the show. You'll hear Sonny Clark ripping on him. Putting themselves in doing stupid things, putting themselves in a position because they're ignorant. And I will call it, and I'll just put it out there every single time. I will call it out in sports. Believe me, if I did Trump, I'd be on social media all day long, and I don't have time for that. I'm so tired of calling out the stupidity from Donald Trump. So that's all I would do. But I don't get it. How I'm not allowed to come out and in my business in sports and call someone an idiot for doing something that was so obviously dumb. And you can defend it all day long. And I don't even care I really don't. I mean, if you want to defend Odell Beckham Jr. and Antonio Brown, I can't help you. There's no way to help you see common sense and see how dumb this whole thing was. If you can't see how dumb it was, I can't help you. I can't help you. I'm not saying you need help. I'm just saying I can't help you. Maybe I was brought up with a different kind of way, 52 years old. And when I see that kind of stupidity and that kind of thing, it's out there. And by the way, the reason why I posted was so many people were defending it. So many people were defending his actions like nothing happened. I got news for you guys. If that thing turned and he arrested him or tried to take him down for what was an assault, I'm telling you right now, he went there and he walloped him. You go watch that video. And he's just lucky that cop was smart because he could have took him down. But that would have been another kaboom. The cop was very smart. He let this thing go. He reported it to his supervisors, and the supervisors put it out. Everybody, it's not like this guy went there. He reported it, and he did it the right way. That would have been a complete disaster. It would have been all the cops' fault, and everybody would be digging at the cop, and oh, poor Odell. But now he does the right thing, reports it out there. Now there's an ulterior motive on why he didn't do it. It's a catch-22. It's a BS excuse. The cop did the right thing because he actually had enough sense in his head to go, if I take this guy down or arrest him here, this whole thing is going to be blown completely out of proportion. And he let his supervisors do the job. They were the ones that put the warrant out for his arrest, and rightfully so. And if you want to defend it, go ahead. Again, maybe I was brought up different, but that kind of stupidity deserves some kind of thing. And this guy will get it, okay? He'll get the fines. He's not going to spend one day in jail, maybe to get processed and all that. But for a significant amount of time, he isn't going to get it, nor should he, by the way. But you don't not start talking about this. You don't not just say, oh, no problem, Odell. No big deal. Watch the video. And by the way, if you want to comment on this, I'm all for it. Please do. But don't do it in defending Odell Beckham Jr. without watching it. Watch his eyes. Watch what he is doing, sneaking up on him. Because if that cop was turned right around, he would have hit him in the front. I'm going to tell you right now, he'd been taken down, and then this whole thing would have completely blown up. And you can say whatever you want, and that kind of stupidity deserves what ended up happening to Odell Beckham Jr. And if you don't think so, that's fine. But I will tell you that Odell Beckham Jr., Antonio Brown, they've got a lot of growing up to do, and you just can't mark this off as, oh, well, no big deal. You just can't. But I guess I got to ask myself a question. I am only one person. I am Sonny Clark, the hardest working man in sports radio. And I haven't talked about a lot. I talked to McKendrick Harper and the people that were in my comment section, but I didn't talk to the one man who I consider the MVP of the Couch Potato Sports Show.
You didn't know?
In case you didn't know,
somebody.
It's Cuervo! I'm so glad to have Cuervo back up on the show. I have missed him so. The video over there. Whoa, hold on. Let me hit the right button. Bam! There he is. What's going on, big man? Good to see you. Look, oh my God. You go on vacation, you come back 10 times more handsome. What the hell?
I try, Sonny. I tried, but
Yeah, my
can you hear me
gosh. I mean,
okay?
you look refreshed. Huh?
Oh, I'm very refreshed. Trust me.
Yeah, definitely.
Can you hear me all right, though? Yeah, I think I'm going mobile tonight. I'm not even on my laptop.
Yeah, I can hear you, so we're okay. So we'll run this and see what ends up happening. Since you're not moving, it might be okay. You're chipping a little bit, but not enough to take away from anything that we're doing. But yeah, I don't know how much of the diatribe you heard from 9:15 to now 9:42. But of what I've been on. But I'm sure I sent you the link. And again, folks, on the Couch Potato Sports Show, I normally don't warn Cuervo what we're going to talk about. I did in this case because it was all over my Facebook page, and we seen the responses up on my Facebook page and things of that sort. So looking at the Odell Beckham situation, we're not even just talking about just what happened in the locker room. You had the nonsense with the money on the football field. And I'm wondering, and I want to ask you, do you think LSU is really taking a second thought at giving this guy full access everywhere out there for that football game?
Well, I think now because of, the I don't want to call it an uproar, but the headlines that this incident has made, I think LSU is going to think twice about allowing him to be back in this type of situation. Let's say LSU next year gets back into the playoff and possibly another national championship run. I think LSU is going to hesitate, despite the fact that he's an alumni and he's a big name and probably would draw a lot of attention, whether good or bad, to LSU and for recruiting purposes and things like that. I think that right there, it kind of tarnishes the image a little bit of LSU, especially they had just won the national championship, and now he's doing money handshakes and slapping police officers in the behind. Like the money thing, I mean that's a whole nother subject. That's a whole nother conversation.
But yeah, an hour at the national championship after the game was over. An hour, you had two Odell Beckham Jr. incidents going on. You had the money, and then not more than 20 or 30 minutes, you got the locker room incident and things of that sort. And I'm getting people asking me, and maybe it's me. I don't know. Should he have been arrested? Absolutely. I mean, just watch the video. That's all I say. It's okay. Comment all you want, but just watch the video. Watch what he was doing. You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of a 10-year-old, trying and doing something and with intent to hurt, but would play it off at, oh, I didn't do it on purpose or anything else like that. So the unintentional part of this whole situation, I'm not buying. This thing was perfectly. Watch how he did it. He snuck up on him, and I'll tell you, if that cop was turned around and he did what he did and hit him in the face, he would have been taken down in a heartbeat. And so, just because he hits him on the butt, guys, this was not a celebratory butt slap. We all know what those are, and even in a fun way, hard, we all know what that was. That's not what this was. And yes. I was asked would McKinder Carper, who I invited on the show, he's just doing business, couldn't come on the show. He asked me if I would arrest him. I said, yeah, absolutely I would have. If he did that to me, absolutely. If I was a police officer, yeah, absolutely would have done it. Because not only that, you have the incident, then you have the lack of total respect at the same time too.
Yeah, I mean, it is a small lack of respect. I think that really, this is just my opinion, Sonny, and I'm not trying to defend Odell Beckham, but I think this was a situation where he got caught up in the moment. I mean, they had just won, like you said. It was within the hour that they won the national title. And I think Odell is one of those guys where, again, it's like you said, right before you brought me in. He's got a little growing up to do, and that includes knowing how to celebrate, big moments in your life, like seeing your alumni win a national title, like, saying that that it wasn't intentional or that there was no malicious, no type of malicious act towards it. Okay, fine. I'll buy that. But to do that though, like I just don't think he was thinking clearly in it. I guess he thought it was like it'd be funny to do it, or it'd be cool or something like that, and not thinking twice about, okay, if I slapped this police officer in the butt, which he did.
How he did it.
Technically, that's assault to an extent.
Yep.
It's not like he tried to, hit him in the face, or he wasn't like in an aggressive way doing something, but it's just a maturity thing. He got caught up in the moment.
Maybe would that be a good word to use? Because it reminds me of a mischievous 10-year-old who is trying to get one over on someone that maybe he can get one on over. It's what it just kind of takes me back a little bit when I see kids the way they are and what they do, and they would go, "Oh, I didn't mean anything," but he had real intentions on doing something, doing some damage, some kind of hurt, whether it was physical or mental or whatever the case may be. I think all of that, and that's what that whole incident took me back to, and it reminded me of Odell Beckham being the 10-year-old.
Yeah, Sonny, I don't think he was trying to like hurt the guy. He was just. Like I said, I think he just got caught up in the moment, and he just kind of did what he did, and not thinking twice about the fact that it's a police officer and you can be arrested for something like that. Now, I'm gonna go back to a comment that you made. Earlier. Had the cop been looking at him and he would have slapped him, and then the cop would have decked him. Now we're talking about police brutality.
Mm-hmm.
We're having a whole different conversation.
Absolutely.
We're and the race card is getting pulled, and all this other nonsense is gonna be said about it.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody's gonna forget about the fact that Odell was the one that put hands on the police officer first.
Yep.
We're not even gonna mention that. We're just gonna mention the fact that the police officer, struck Odell Beckham in whatever way it could have happened.
Yep.
But like I said, now we're having a totally different conversation about, police brutality going on in this country, and for me that whole thing has died down because we haven't really seen it anymore. But all it takes is one incident.
Absolutely.
And for something like, to be in the big spotlight, like a police officer hitting a very famous professional athlete, by the way, not just your regular average Joe. We're talking big time. We're talking Odell Beckham here.
And not the third string wide receiver that no one knows is on the team.
Yeah, exactly. This guy's a star, whether people like it or not, he's a star in the league. And so that's why it would make such big news. But honestly, like when I saw it the first time, it was, I'll be honest, I kind of chuckled. I was like, okay, but I chuckled because not that I thought it was cool, funny, but I thought it was stupid funny. Like I chuckle, I'm like, what made you think that would be funny or cool to do, or like, like, I don't know. You get what I'm saying?
That's another point of that, because the situation, as I remember it and how I think I know it, okay, and I may be wrong about some of the details, but the policeman was actually dealing with an incident of one of the players, if I'm not mistaken, it was about smoking. I don't know what he was smoking, whether it was marijuana, cigarette, or whatever, but he was dealing with another situation at that time, not Odell Beckham. And what that was now, and I even said it a little earlier, if Odell Beckham fell on the sword to get him away from the kid, whatever the situation, okay, I'll give him that. But it still don't take away the stupidity of what he did. But also, it's like
I'm Odell, and the spotlight's got to be on me. I'm here, so it's got to be me, and that's all I get from this. And that kind of stupidity, I find it almost indefensible. I really do. It's just, how do you defend that much stupidity coming out of one person? And that's where I look at this whole thing. It's not. I don't know. The malicious intent of it, I don't know. But I guess I'll ask you this question: did the cop handle it the right way?
Well, honestly, Sonny, the part of the video that I saw was after he slapped him. The cop turned around and just kind of stared at him, and that was the end of what I saw of the video. Is that everything that happened?
It pretty much, yeah, that's it. And what he did, the cop, I think he knew the situation. I think he knew the surroundings. I think he recognized that this is, whoa, if I take this guy down, because this guy didn't just pat me on the butt and celebrate. This guy laid into it. This guy wound up and did it. I'm going to tell you right now, it would have hurt, and instinct would turn around and slap somebody in the face. I know I might have done it. And so I just think he recognized where it was, who it was, and what it was all about. And he let the proper authorities above him handle that. This warrant was not put out by the cop that did it. This was from his supervisors that put that warrant out. Now, good, bad, or indifferent, should have it been done? That part I don't know. But I will tell you that cop was thinking. That guy was on his toes, because, like you said, that could have turned around and it could have been a total craziness and a blow up on. You want to talk about something going viral? That would go viral all over the internet.
Oh, in a heartbeat.
Yep.
And it's, again, because of the magnitude of the moment. You're talking about college football, national championship, big stars, all that stuff. And I mean, there were so many people watching and so many people that would have witnessed what could have been an ugly situation. And
absolutely.
It could have made a turn for the worse. So really, I mean, that cop handled it about as good as you can.
Yep. And I'm hearing, and that's the part that I'm hearing. Oh, you should have took care of it then. Shouldn't have yet. And he's only out for money. Listen, I bet you, I'd be willing to bet my money that's in my pocket, which isn't much, but it's enough for me, that he doesn't get one dime, and he isn't going to pursue that portion of it. And now, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's exactly what he's doing. He's trying to get the money or whatever the case may be. And I'll eat my words. But something tells me about this incident, the way that he handled it so professionally, that I don't think that that's the direction this is going in.
No, I don't think so either. I mean, like I said, Sonny, I mean, I don't think I'm one of those that it was a dumb thing, but I don't think Odell Beckham should be, say suspended from the NFL for what happened, or, banned for life from ever attending any type of LSU activity. I don't think it needs to go that far.
Think the Browns need to cut ties with them, though? Do you think that the Browns are going to be able to go ahead and continue on with him, with the money, with the slap and everything else? Do you think the Browns are rethinking their situation and trying to bring that guy onto his football team?
No, I don't think so, Sonny. I mean, he's been quiet all year, and
I found that interesting, by the way, and almost made me afraid. We're not hearing from Odell, and but to be honest, when you think about Odell Beckham Jr. during the season, we didn't hear a lot about him in the last 2 years on the Giants. Now, he made some noise outside the season. And I guess if that's the time you're going to do it, you don't want to draw away. You don't want to have off the field incidents and things of that sort. So in his defense, and I will give that, because listen, and I know you'll defend me. Hey, this guy's a monster out on the football field. There is no question of this talent, and I've never questioned that the whole time. Matter of fact, always wished that he had a better quarterback throwing him the ball, because he'd have more yards. His stats would be much better if he had a real quarterback throwing him a football besides the Eli Manning. The guy was a monster, and there's no question about that. But when it comes to monster stupidity, he's right there. But, that being said, I also know, I don't know if you know it or not, Antonio Brown in the news with his situation. It's amazing how video has changed what people are going to talk about, whether it be on our show, whether it be on Facebook and social media, or whatever the case may be. But there is a strong, and I'm going to say this, the Antonio Brown video, that's a strong video. So strong that his agent jumped in. And that is a bit. Listen, that is. I've never seen such a big statement made by an agent before.
Yeah. Okay. So maybe I need to get caught up on this story.
Yeah, because you might have not been here. He lost his mind on his porch and some kind of altercation with his girlfriend and his kid. Now, he didn't hurt the kid in any way, so let's put that out there. He didn't hurt the kid in any way physically whatsoever. So when you get time, you'll probably hop off the show and you'll go take a look at the video. So I'll do my best to describe it. He was losing the fact of the matter is, and I'll say it this way, the only way I know how to say it, he was losing his mind on his front porch, yelling and screaming at cops, cursing, using the N-word, and telling the woman in different bad language that you call women to get off his property. And he went on and on and on and insulted the cops. Cops didn't do one thing either, by the way, stood in the street and let him go absolutely nuts. They could have arrested him for disturbing the peace. They didn't. They did. And in another incident where I think the police did the right thing to really, in reality, who does this hurt? It hurts, first of all, it hurts the reputation of the person that Odell Beckham or in this case, Antonio Brown. It hurts their reputation. And when your own agent can't defend you and they drops you, I think that's a very big indication on maybe what or if we'll ever see Antonio Brown in the NFL again.
Well, yeah, because if agents don't want to deal with him, you think teams are going to want to deal with him? You think other players in the league are going to want to deal with him? You think owners are going to want – no, nobody's going to want to put up with his dramatic ways. And
well, that's a good way of saying it, Cuervo. Very dramatic.
Yeah, he is. He's a very dramatic person.
And not in a good way either. Sometimes you'll see someone do something dramatic and kind of funny in way, but to me, it's almost like an emotional breakdown that was ended up happening that you've seen right in front of you. It just developed right there on video. Yeah. And I don't know who took this video, by the way. I don't know if it was his video or someone else taking the video. I think it was him, but I watched it and I thought to myself, just for an incident, this guy's lost his mind. Now, I didn't mean to say that in a bad way. I meant this guy. There might be something I'm afraid for him. In reality, I'm afraid for Odell Beckham. No, or not Odell, but more Antonio Brown than I am Odell Beckham Jr. Because I think there might be a mental serious problem, and I don't mean mental in a bad way. It just sounds bad, but I think he might need some help.
I think he does too, and that's something I think that we've talked about before is that he needs professional help.
Yep.
And this incident right here, I think, really spells it out for you because there was nothing that, at least that I know of, that triggered him to act the way he did and say the things that he did to his, to his family or whatever.
His girlfriend, and one in the one. They and what that was a big bad fight. In reality, is what you call it, the big bad fight of Sometimes that just ends up happening, and I even get that. I even get that to a point. That's the case to a point. This thing went out into public. The doors were opened. They all came out, and it was bad. You'll probably go take a look at the video after we're off air and take a look at that, and we'll probably discuss it a little bit more. I'll give you an opportunity to drop on that on Sunday when we go on our show. That being said, we are going to go on at 11 o'clock. We'll go up for as long as we will. Lenny Melnick, the godfather of fantasy sports, or Andrea, or both, the goddess of fantasy baseball, will be on, because we're not going to talk about the Houston stuff until we bring in Lenny Melnick, because I think the reason why I'm doing that is because I respect Lenny Melnick on baseball more than anybody out there as far as who reports on it. And I mean that. We got plenty of ESPN guys and everybody else, but Lenny Melnick and Andrea, I respect them very much because I want to get the full story. I want to know what it's about. And I am on purpose not diving into trying to figure out what this was all about. So I'm going to wait and listen to it so I can have an authentic reaction to what is being told and how I feel. Because if I go off the top of my head just on the little bits that I've seen in headlines, because I have not read an article. I only seen headlines because I don't want to. I'm wondering what the big deal is, and that's why we're going to bring in Lenny Melnick, and maybe he can explain it, and maybe he'll change my mind. So we'll do that on Sunday, hopefully. I tried to call him to get him to come on tonight, but I couldn't make that connection. I forgot about the time difference, and that we're on late. But hey, you guys are just getting started Friday night. You're going out after we're done, I bet, right?
Oh no, it's Thursday, but
oh God, that's right. It is Thursday. Day late, or day early. So yeah, you got work in the morning. So lots of stuff. By the way, I went a whopping 2-6 in my playoffs. I won the last 2 games, so I lost all the games in week number 1 of the playoffs. I missed the first 2 of the morning of Saturday's game, and I got Sunday's game. I got both of those right, so I was on a roll. How'd you do as far as your picks were concerned?
Yeah, I'm like right at 500 so far. I think 4-4. So hasn't been the greatest playoff prediction for me so far this year, but I'm hanging on. Of course, I just like everyone else, I had Baltimore beating Tennessee, and I also had what was the other one that I missed? Obviously, I wanted to see Green Bay lose.
New England. I think you probably missed New England.
Yeah, the first week, yes, absolutely. Yeah. And then who was it? The Saints let me down.
Yep, they let everybody down.
Yeah, and then but last weekend it was. I did have Kansas City beat as much as I like Deshaun Watson. I just didn't think they were going to have enough to beat Kansas City. So I had picked them. I also picked San Francisco.
Well, interestingly enough, let's go back to that game. Let's go back to the Houston game. I think it's time to make a move on Bill O'Brien. What do you think?
Well, I mean,
you want to talk a collapse, Cuervo? Wow.
What was it? I think it was 24-0. Man.
24-0.
But that goes to show the change in Kansas City as well. I mean, I think I heard they scored like 4 touchdowns in 5 minutes or something.
Yeah, crazy. It was crazy how that whole, you want to talk a turnaround, and I don't want to call it a defensive downfall, but there we go. Yeah, I was amazed, and it's not the first time we've seen O'Brien on the hot seat as well. We talked about that a couple of years ago, whether or not he should have been there a couple of years ago. Managed to save his job and got into the playoffs, got past the first round. Congratulations. I didn't pick him. That was one I missed. But the way they got up on that game and they had that thing in full control, I don't know. Is that coaching? Is that the player? Or is that just bad luck? What do you think, Cuervo?
With the Texans?
Yeah.
Really, I think it was bad luck because, that team's got playoff experience. It's not like they were going into this thing blindfolded. I mean, they won the week before. Who did they beat? I can't remember now. I forget. They beat somebody.
I didn't pick them. They were on the road, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. If they were playing,
no, mark that they were at home. They were, and the reason because they won their division. So they were at home, and Buffalo.
Yeah, they beat Buffalo. There you go.
Yeah, Buffalo. So
yep. So I mean, it's not like Houston has no playoff experience. I mean, they were in it last year, again this year. So it'll be interesting to see if they progress next year. Now, I will say this: if they decide to keep Bill O'Brien, and they're back in the playoffs next year, and if they don't make that, I would say you got to make the AFC Championship.
I think I agree.
If that doesn't happen,
I think I agree with you.
He's done.
Although I think he should be gone. That kind of oh man. If you're an owner of a football team and you just seen that happen right before your eyes and literally could do absolutely nothing about it, that has got to be the most frustrating feeling in the world when you were already thinking about dumping this guy a couple of years ago anyway, because that was a report they were thinking about doing it. So it's not like it was the first time they thought about it. So I'm actually surprised the guy still has a job to this point now.
Well, I mean, I think the reason that he does is because you don't want to make an emotional decision right away. Like say they.
I would be emotional. I would have been down there. I would have been down there as soon as they got off the plane and says your office is that way. Why don't you grab a couple of boxes and just you can clean out. That would have been me. Now granted, I've been known to be a little emotional, and I would have done it. I think that way they lost that football game. And here's the thing: he couldn't get the players back, Cuervo. That when this whole thing started, the rest of that game, that was just that downward spiral. When it started, there was no bringing them back. Zero. And it didn't even matter what Watts was doing. And by the way, looked incredibly tired in the second game. He had a great first game. I'm not going to take that, but he looked tired toward the second half of that football game because they were on the field a lot because of the turnaround that the Chiefs were doing at that point.
Yeah, and that's basically what they did was, they struck fast and they put pressure on Houston's offense to makes Kansas City so scary going into this AFC title game against the Titans is, everybody knows the offense. Everybody knows how explosive they can be. But Kansas City's defense is playing so much better now than they did, a month ago, even close to 2 months ago. So, adding Terrell Suggs, it's a nice addition. I don't think he's the deciding factor in the turnaround. I mean, they started getting better before he jumped on board.
Yep.
But
it's just
I think
great insurance policy, bringing and again, Terrell Suggs old, but he's been there before too. So, and he knows it's a different game besides what's in the regular season as well. So that was actually, if you didn't get him just for play, regardless, you got him for experience in reality too, and that doesn't take away from anything. And it's not like the guy was asking for a lot of money to do it anyway. So it was a good pickup.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't know the details of what he got, but I wouldn't imagine it's got to be no more than maybe $1 million, $2 million or something.
Could have been more, I don't think,
because his thing was actually obviously going to a contender. And, well, Kansas City is obviously a contender. They're still in it, so I can imagine how he'd feel though because the rumors that I had heard once Arizona let him go was that he was dead set on going back to Baltimore. Yeah. So imagine how he'd feel right now if he was a Raven.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Good point.
I went back to Baltimore for a one and done season in the playoffs. Like, no, I'm good.
Well, I think he might have got the right. Well, obviously he did. Now that Baltimore game was definitely a shot. It was a shot. I didn't expect them to lose. And by the way, and as much as it pains me to say, and I'll admit it. Stop yawning on me. The MVP of the NFL this year was Lamar Jackson. That pains me to say because I'll stand by what I say. I don't think he's a good quarterback, but what he brought to the game
what he did for his team, what he couldn't do throwing the ball, he did with his legs. He did things that we had not seen before. So I think that I'll even put it out there. I think he deserves the credit. I think he deserves the MVP. And that's tough for me because I don't like him. I don't like him. I'll say it straight out. I don't like
not many people you do like. So.
Yeah, well, that's true. I hate everybody except you. I kind of like you, and Bryce. I got two great-looking guys. That's why we should not be doing video. I am ugly. I got two great-looking guys. I'm the odd man out every single time. So it's just unbelievable. But by the way, I'm going to leave this way because we do got to take a break. I got to get to my sponsor. But there's been some news, and you check my Facebook page as well, talking about a certain quarterback that could be interviewing. Yeah, baby. I'm waiting to find out what you think about it. I can tell by the look of your face, but I'm going to defend it. I'm going to defend it for you. So we'll do that. Don't go anywhere. We'll catch you up on the other side, guys. We're going to take a quick break here on the Couch Potato Sports Show. We'll talk about one Chicago Bears quarterback because it's not just one guy they are talking about. There's another story that came out about another person, same but more in depth about it. We'll talk about that. We'll take the quick break on Just Because I Wanna. It's me, Sonny Clark, along with my fine co-host, Cuervo. We'll be right back.
There's nothing that beats good home-cooked barbecue. Since 1941, whether you want real Texas brisket, Virginia ham, southern pulled pork, or fall-off-the-bone ribs, Dickey's Barbecue is the place to go. Come visit us today at 5701 President George Bush Turnpike, Suite 110 in the Target Shopping Center. For lip-smacking, rib-tickling, knee-slapping, foot-stomping, great-tasting barbecue, come see us at Dickey's Barbecue today.
Liberty Air and Heat. Everybody knows what the Texas Heat can do to your air conditioning and heating systems. That's why you need the experts that deliver the best and most honest service in the Rowlett area. We provide the high-quality air conditioning and heating services that keep you more comfortable when you need it. So contact Liberty Air and Heat at 469-678-9444 or visit them on the web at libertyairandheat.com.
At Nest Egg Wealth Advisors, we have found many people either approaching or currently in retirement failed to truly maximize some of the benefits offered to them, primarily Social Security. It's simply not a benefit that you start receiving at age 62. If you would like a complimentary copy of Social Security Maximization, please give our office a call today at 972-412-6064 or visit us on the web at nesteggadvice.com.
RowlettFood.com. Do you want to have dinner delivered but you don't want to use Uber Eats? Contact someone locally that can do the same thing at a better price and faster. All you have to do is pick a restaurant on the list at the website, tell us what you'd like to order, then check out. Check out RowlettFoods.com. Give us a call at 972-408-8002 or check us out on the web at RowlettFood.com. Are you looking for a new home? Want to know what your house could sell for in today's market? Then you need to contact Realtor Jeremy Morgan with Ray Hubbard Real Estate Group at Keller Williams Rockwall. Whether you're buying, selling, leasing, or investing, he can help you get where you need to be. That's 214-236-2914. Jeremy Morgan with Ray Hubbard Real Estate Group, Keller Williams Rockwall.
Being taken for a ride? Check out Costco Insurance, serving Texans since 1981. Bundle your home, auto, or business insurance to save a ton. Costco Insurance on the corner of Main Street and Rowlett Road, where we make insurance fun. Or check us out on the web at CostcoInsurance.com, where we always have the coffee pot on.
Yeah, but is it fresh?
And welcome back into the Couch Potato Sports Show. It is me, Sonny Clark, the hardest working man in sports radio, here on a special edition here on a Thursday night. Just because we're doing a little bit late because I've been very busy. And, if folks don't know, I had not even put it out there. I kind of messed up my knee, and I've been kind of gimping around here for the last 2 weeks and just setting up the show. And, because I don't leave the computer and everything right here, it's just a backdrop. It's not I don't have a desk right in front of this thing here. So I have to actually pick it up, tear it down, do it every single. So that was actually a chore. And so much so I decided I did not want to do the show on Sunday because I had hurt re-hurt my knee. So I was going to do a show and just let people come on. But it was just too much for me to move around. But I'm getting a lot better and getting all set. So my knee's getting better. So we're about ready to do it now. That being said, of course, that's the name of our show on Sunday. Come and catch us. We're going to be doing this at 9 o'clock, mark that 11 o'clock on Sunday morning. We'll take you up to the first game. I'm not even sure which one that is. We will talk about those games on Sunday. We're just staying away directly to talk about those games that is there. So make sure you join us on Sunday for that. Now, what we're going to do until Cuervo, I see his little thing. He's got a lock on his thing. When he's ready, he's going to come back. I'm going to jump to the Dallas Cowboys. My locals. And God, God, Jerry Jones, please, what? Okay, guys, I cannot believe that they go ahead, they make the move, they bring in McCarthy. Listen, I talked about it, wasn't a great big fan of the McCarthy pickup. But guy, Jerry and McCarthy both, oh my God, they shouldn't have hired the guy in the first place. And I'm talking about Kellen Moore. And he's going to stay the offensive, quote unquote, co-offensive coordinator for the Dallas Cowboys. And listen, I don't get it. Guys, one of the biggest complaints was the play calling and how it just failed them. And they decide they're going to keep Kellen Moore as the quote unquote co-offensive coordinator. Now, if I had my noise, and I will. I'm going to have my noisemaker on Sunday. I need my noise because I need me a Joan Rivers. Can we talk? I mean, Jerry, what are you watching? And let's just say this, Mike McCarthy, what are you watching? You don't think you can do better? You don't think out of all the people, it's bad enough they picked Mike McCarthy, but you don't think there's anybody out there that could have been someone that could come in there and be the offensive coordinator. Now, if you just want to keep Kellen Moore on, make him a quarterback coach, because they fired the other guy, the former Seattle Seahawk, John Kitna. They let John Kitna go. So he is not there anymore. So make him that, but I appreciate loyalty, but the stupidity of the loyalty drives me nuts, because if you're going to keep Kellen Moore, you might as well kept Jason Garrett. What the heck? Makes no sense to me. Not one. And that's completely crazy. So Dallas Cowboy fans, you got something, I don't know. You don't have anything to look forward to. But that is horrible. Some more quarterback news. As far as the Titans getting Ryan Tannehill, could that have been the best move out of anybody in the NFL? I only can think of one. That was a better move than this. More of an impact was definitely Ryan Tannehill. But as great of a move to get Ryan Tannehill for the Titans were picking up the dude out of Miami. I'm talking about the Steelers, that defensive back, badass. That was the best move all year long. But, man, the Ryan Tannehill pickup was a good number 2 because you had a guy who has NFL experience. And when you are a team that is trying to rebound from what their situation was, you needed somebody who at least had some games under his belts, which Ryan Tannehill did. And it wasn't always Ryan Tannehill's fault that they lost football games. Now, good, bad, or indifferent, I don't know. But I will tell you, the Titans with Ryan Tannehill might have found a home. Will that guy be the starter next year, or is he just going to put himself out there to get paid some big bucks to go somewhere? That's always a situation because you don't know what the Titans are going to do. But the Titans cannot depend upon Ryan Tannehill for too long. So I think that move needs to be made. And if there is one that you can think of that could be available in the draft, this is when you do it, or trade to get somebody else as well. How long do they keep Ryan Tannehill? How long do you ride that train? That's the big question. We'll ask Cuervo when he comes back up on that one as well. So we got those 2 bits of information that have been coming across my screen as well. Now, no tight end in NFL history has been more productive than George Kittle at catching the ball over the first 3 years of his career. And that's out of guys that retired. Antonio Gates just retired. That's Rob Gronkowski that retired. We're talking about a guy that has been more prolific than all of them, than the San Francisco 49ers tight end George Kittle. This guy's been a super badass in reality. And as much as I wish it was Marquise Goodwin, was the reason why they were a former Rowlett Eagle. Of course, I got some mad love there. He's unfortunately will not be in the playoffs. He's an injured reserved. But you talk about a guy that, I don't want to put him in a situation as far as who he is and expect that through the rest of his career. But I will tell you, he has got a guy that can put him there. And I'm talking about Garoppolo. That Garoppolo and him, this is a Tom Brady, Rob Gronkowski relationship, guys. And watch out. Listen, I'm not saying Sanders is a bad wide receiver, but he's not a number 1. And if you think he's a number 1, you don't know football. He's a good football player, and I won't take that away from him. But when you think number 1 wide receivers, you don't think Emmanuel Sanders. Sorry, you don't. If you do, reevaluate. That's probably the best way to say that you're an idiot. But it's interesting enough. Now, just to let you know, the Antonio Brown situation, the whole blow up on that whole thing. And I want you to think about this, because this is a report that's coming out of Josiah Anderson and Victor Cruz. Okay. This is a report from ESPN. Now, those 2 are a couple. They expressed their concerns about Antonio Brown's mental health, and Anderson adds that Brown's issues run deeper than football. Now, guys, they're not being specific here, but that breakdown that happened was big. By the way, Cuervo, I don't know if you want to come back on. You got your locked out, so I can't see you. So if you want to come in, you got to unlock yourself so I can see you. But that having been said, this just goes along what Cuervo and I were just talking about Antonio Brown. And by the way, and if you saw the video and seen the pictures, Antonio Brown looks like he has aged 5 years. And guys, another story that's going out. They are thinking that this whole thing has a lot to do with the concussion syndrome and that whole situation and the old story about, you see the movie Concussion. Okay. These guys with the brain damage and things, people are wondering how much that is there. So a combination of mental situations for people who are close to him. Josina Anderson and Victor Cruz, a couple that's close to these guys, are worried about Antonio Brown. So when we say that, and I don't mean mental in a bad way, because listen, we're all growing into words. When people, I know we used to say people were mental was a bad thing, but it's more acceptable to talk about it now. So, and I'm not being facetious when I say it, because when I said I was worried about Antonio Brown, I actually am, as a person and who he is. Okay. And I think I agree with what has been said, because Victor Cruz again has expressed concerns about Antonio Brown's mental health, and then Anderson adds that Brown's issues run deeper than football. What does that mean? I don't know, because she did not elaborate on it, and that's probably a good thing. See, now that also being said, these problems that Antonio Brown they're going to, I wish, unfortunately, I mean, obviously we talk about it. This is a sports show. He is a sports superstar. We talk about it. I wish it wasn't that way. I wish this could remain behind closed doors so he can take care of his own personal problems. But unfortunately, the way that it has opened up and the way that video came out puts it out there to where everybody sees it. So it's a bad story there. Yes, Cuervo, good to see you, my friend. Good to have you back, by the way. As we get that, Todd filled in very well for you while you were gone. We kind of planned that because of what you as far as your vacation, but. So a couple of things. I don't know how much of you were listening. So just quick comments up on what we started back when we came from commercial. Kellen Moore going to remain the co-offensive coordinator in Dallas. Good, bad, or indifferent. I think it's just incredibly crazy. If you're going to get rid of Jason Garrett, you might as well get rid of a Kellen Moore at the same time. But there's some loyalty there that I think is there. So I think that's a big part of it. And listen, we can fault Jerry Jones for a lot of things, but it won't be because of loyalty.
No. I mean, Jerry's always been a pretty loyal kind of guy. I mean, look how long he held on to Jason Garrett. So
absolutely,
that tells you everything you need to know about the type of owner, the type of person that Jerry Jones is.
Yep. So big news there as far as that. Now, and I just touched on it briefly. Ryan Tannehill, was he the biggest pickup and trade out of anybody? I sort of go back to the move that the Steelers did when they picked up that badass defensive player out of Miami. Name slipping my mind, but he is super bad. But obviously,
Minka Fitzpatrick.
Exactly, Fitzpatrick. But obviously, the results are the Ryan Tannehill because of where they are in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, how can you argue against that?
Yeah.
I mean, he totally but re-energized that Titans offense and got him, playing good ball again. I mean, I think the resurgence of Derrick Henry.
Oh yeah, big time.
I mean, he did it last year too, but it didn't carry very far in the playoffs. But
it didn't rub off on Marcus Mariota to be able to utilize what the kind of weapon that they had with them, or they would have been more successful. You go look at these stats. I mean, these stats are really incredible. Those stats are nuts. I mean, because he never did that over in Miami. Okay, so that's number one, which tells you what a great running game will do for your football team. There's no question about that.
Oh,
and his numbers were incredible this year in just the brief time that he's played.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what you need to happen to be successful in the playoffs. Your running game needs to be strong and your defense needs to be playing well. And both of those things for the Titans are happening. So that's why they're still in it, because they've been running the ball well, managing the clock, and their defense has been able to stop, their opponents. So But yeah, I mean, I think, between those two, like you said, Minka Fitzpatrick, Ryan Tannehill,
Two of the best this year.
Both ex-Dolphins now in other places doing big things for their team. It's been quite the turnaround especially for Tannehill.
Yeah, well, the Steelers definitely. I mean, they saw the dumpster fire that was going on. They decided to save. Fitzpatrick, and that's exactly. And look out for that defense next year in Pittsburgh. I think it's going to be more improved. It's going to be very interesting of what is out there and going there. So now let's go ahead and let's bring it in because Todd Mintz, guy who watches the show, he welcomes you back, obviously. But what's your opinion on the offensive coordinator down there? And the Bears offensive coordinator, the new hire. I don't necessarily know about this piece of news. I know you do. So what's going on there as far as the offensive coordinator is going on?
Oh, now I'm being put on the spot, and I can't remember the dude's name. I think it's like Dave Lozen or something like that. And,
okay.
It doesn't sound like it's exactly a splash hire. I mean,
okay.
He's been your average offensive coordinator. Actually, he's been out of the league for a couple of years, from my understanding. And I'm like, oh, that's what we needed. A guy that's been out of the league for a couple of years to get this offense going. So I think a lot of people in Chicago are very confused and don't understand this hire. Now, what they also did, though,
Mark Helfrich is his name. It looks like he was with the University of Oregon from 2013 to 2016.
That's the guy that just left Chicago.
That's the guy that just left.
Yes, that's the one they just parted ways
with. Here it is. So. Bill Lazor, the former
there you go,
offensive coordinator out of Minnesota. Which, by the way, if you can get what you can get out of Kirk Cousins, maybe this is not a bad hire.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
Yes.
I mean, if he can do what he did for Kirk, imagine what he might be able to do for Trubisky. Maybe.
Yep.
So Bill Lazor, yeah, okay. Now that name sounds That does ring a bell now. Like I said, I mean, I haven't heard anything specifically, but if Bears fans think the way I do, I mean, I'm not exactly jumping for joy with this hire. I mean, it's not like, it's not.
You wanted to splash. There's no question. Cuervo wanted to splash.
Well,
who did you want? Who did you want? I mean, being the Bear fan that you are, I mean, I'm a Bears fan, but I'm not so deep into it. That I know every move and what. Who was your guy? I mean, did you have a guy involved? That you wanted as far as that was concerned?
No one specific. Just somebody that has some experience, that's been successful, and can really take this offense and really move it in the right direction. But there hasn't really been guys available that I think would be able to. Now, what they also did do, and you're going to be familiar with this name, John DeFilippo.
Oh, yes.
Who was he was the Eagles OC, and I think he moved down to your Jacksonville Jaguars for a little while.
He did.
He is now going to be the quarterback coach for the Chicago Bears. So we'll see if he can mentor Mitch and get him going in the right direction.
So the question that you have to ask, okay, and it's out there, okay, is that now since they got Lazar to bring him on, will Andy Dalton follow? Because he also did some times over there with, obviously working with Andy Dalton as well. So what would your feelings be about Andy Dalton joining the Chicago Bears as a starting quarterback?
I mean, is it a move that would, have me jumping for joy? No, absolutely not.
So you are not on the Andy Dalton bandwagon love, that's going out there right now.
Not very much, no.
Now, is that because you don't think he's good enough, or do you think they just need something else?
They need something else. I think based on the type of personnel we have on offense, I'm not even going to say based on the type of team we have. It's just the offensive personnel. You're talking about smaller, scat back type guys. Like a Taylor Gabriel and Anthony Miller, Tariq Cohen, Montgomery. Yep. You don't have a big bruiser running back like a Derrick Henry or Adrian Peterson, or it's almost a replica of what is going on in Kansas City almost. We just don't have quite the running game or the quarterback. So that's why it looks like they want to kind of mirror what the Kansas City Chiefs are doing, but the talent's just not there. I mean, you ain't gonna. There's only one Tyreek Hill,
right?
There's only one Travis Kelce.
Yep.
There's only one Hardeman. I forget his first name. Nicholas Hardeman or something like that is another little receiver that they have. I think he was a Pro Bowler on special teams this year. He made the Pro Bowl, but we don't have those kind of guys. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love Tariq Cohen. Let me start with Tariq Cohen.
Absolutely.
Love the kid's phenomenal. He's no Tyreek Hill. I like guys like Miller and whatnot, and he's just, but they're not what Kansas City has.
Got it. So, well, of course, I mean, yeah, you got the league MVP there, of course, lurking on that. Now, some other news as far as Chicago Bear quarterback. There was an article that I spotted, didn't read it, just spotted, because I don't like diving into it until I get into it. But Cam Newton, there's some more news about Cam Newton. Did you see? I don't know if you've seen that, but there seems to be now more growing talk. Listen, I will tell you that usually where there's smoke, there's fire. I mean, when there's so much talk, it's one thing to hear something here and there and everywhere. It's another to hear as much as what we're talking about, whether it's Cam Newton going over there or somebody else. But Cam Newton seems to be the big story. So the simple fact of the matter is that when everything's going, Lazard, by the way, just to give you a quick idea as far as who he really is, Matt Nagy has come out and said that he wanted him back, but he got promoted from the Bengals from 2016 to 2018 as the quarterback's coach, promoted to the offensive coordinator in 2017. So he got a big one. So according to everything that has been saying, they were trying to get him back, when he first came on in Chicago, talking about Matt Nagy. So obviously the connection between Andy Dalton and what he is, and I don't know. You got to usually kind of hang out with something that you're used to. So when you talk Cam Newton, when you talk Mitchell Trubisky, that's not what these guys are used to. I mean, this guy is used to. I mean, look at the quarterback. He's had your traditional drop back pocket passing quarterback, and Mitchell Trubisky and Cam Newton are neither. So the odds about this being talked about, but I go back to what I just said. There's so much talk about the Cam Newton situation. I don't know, based upon who he is and what he has done, if this is even the right thing to do. In reality, is to bring this guy in and have Cam Newton. This guy don't know Cam Newton from Adam.
Yeah, exactly. And it's going to be interesting to see how this whole quarterback situation turns out for all the teams. I mean, in Carolina, I mean, there's going to be change there, obviously. Will Chicago stick with Trubisky, or will a bigger opportunity come up? It's so early. I mean, this season's not even over yet, let alone talking about next year.
Yep.
So,
but when your team's out of it, you got to talk about that.
Well, yeah, off season's already started. Yeah, off season has already started. So.
Yes, definitely. So and we'll be following the Chicago Bears all off season as well. So look out for that. The Panthers. I mean, they jump on it quick, don't they, Cuervo? The Panthers go ahead. They're trying to get Joe Brady to help with their offense that's going on in Carolina. And, of course, Carolina with their new signing and as their new head coach over there. So, you're talking about, a jigsaw puzzle in reality, Cuervo, when you think about what's going on at the Panthers as far as their hiring of their head coach, now thinking about getting the LSU guy, which obviously makes you kind of wonder, are the Panthers going to make a move to go and get their guy, the quarterback that came out there, which, by the way, if it wasn't for the fact that he transferred, we might not be talking about the LSU Tigers being the national champions.
Yeah. I think he had transferred, I want to say from Georgia. Am I right on that?
Georgia Tech.
Georgia Tech. Okay. So, yeah. I mean, imagine.
I never heard of the guy. I never heard of the guy before he got over to LSU. Matter of fact, I never heard of him. But then again, I don't follow college football as much as you and some of the other cohorts that we'll bring on the show. And so I don't follow him as much as you do. So, but about the fifth week, yeah, there was John going on about who this guy was and what he can possibly do for any NFL football team after the end of the year. Now, with all the speculation, all the talk, and about was this the greatest college football season of all time and all this, I don't know how much of that I really want to fall into or try to even guess at, because I don't know college football that well. So, Cuervo, I'll put that in your pocket. How do you think about where does this season rank for LSU as far as being one of the best ever?
Well, I mean, I think from the school standpoint, I think it's probably
definitely
top two, maybe three school. I would say, definitely at worst number three. Just because I don't know too much about the history of LSU, so there might have been a team before years back that dominated, unlike, they just look like maybe they were in a league of their own or something. But as far as this year, look, I mean, the offense, boy, you talk about, putting up some points. I mean, they put up what? I think it was 60 against
60.
Yeah, against who was it that they played in the Oklahoma?
Yeah, that was 2 weeks before the season ended, if I'm not mistaken.
Right. Yeah, that was during the playoff on New Year's Eve.
Oh, that's right, New Year's Day.
Yeah, and so put up 60 against Oklahoma and then put up another 40-something against Clemson. I mean, my gosh.
Clemson's a damn good football team. There ain't no.
Of course.
I don't even keep track of it as much as anybody else does. But that's a good football team as far as the personnel, and plus just what they did last year. Hell, I even remember what they did last year. But a real interesting stat that I saw, and I don't remember who brought it up, but they brought up this graphic about teams that go undefeated and what they do the next year. Were they successful in winning the national champions? And there was like 10 of them marked, and only one of them, and those were years ago, that actually repeated. I forget who it was, but it hasn't been done forever. So obviously, the opportunity for a team to repeat as national champions after doing what they did. Listen, I want to get to Vegas and make that bet. No kidding. No, they're not going to be able to repeat it. I want my money on that. So
right.
Yeah, kind of. So next time you're out there, let me know. I'll sell you some money. I want some of that. But it should be really interesting to see what happens, because let me tell you something. If they are capable of doing it, bringing in a new quarterback and doing what they're going to be able to do, obviously they lost their gunslinger. Listen, you don't need to know much about college football to know that when you lose a guy that is going to go number one in the draft, you got a big hole to fill. And I don't know, do you know who that's going to be, or is there any talk about who that's going to be for LSU, or are you not dived into that too much?
You're talking about as far as like the number one pick in the draft?
Well, no, the number one pick in the draft. Listen, there have only been so many, there's an expression where it's automatic. It's just going to happen.
Like a surefire
lock. He's going number one. There ain't no question about that. Whether it's Miami trying to jump up, which we also seen some news, they're trying to jump up to number one to get him. Some other people, other teams that are trying to, make maneuvers to get that. Because really, if you think about it, that kind of quarterback don't come along. The last one that really came along that was that guy was Andrew Luck. I mean, outside of all those other guys, I mean, yeah, they're good football players, but no one that stuck like an Andrew Luck before that. So we're kind of seeing something that can turn your franchise around. And obviously, if Andrew Luck stayed healthy, imagine where the Indianapolis Colts could be right now. Could they be in the playoffs, or would they be in the playoffs? I always wish I would have been able to see that as far as where they are, but this guy's going number one. So who are they going to replace him with? Is there any idea, or do you know yet?
Who's LSU is going to replace him with? Or
Quarterback.
Yeah, that one I'm not.
We got to dive a little bit. We're again, we do this off top of our head, so he probably knows who it is. He just doesn't know it. Obviously, we didn't get together and talk about what we're going to talk about on this show. This one completely out in left field. Corey was going, "Can you just give me a little chance here?"
Right?
Yeah, it's like, help me here. But I'm just throwing out some things and everything else. And as far as that's concerned, some other things that I've been hearing about and seeing, as far as the NFL is concerned, and news that that it's talked about. Yeah, obviously Aaron Rodgers is a big story. What they did to get to where they are. And we're not going to talk about the game per se, but I was reading also people were talking about Aaron Rodgers needs another Super Bowl to cement his legacy. And I don't know if that's the case. And listen, listen, Aaron Rodgers is one of the best. Okay, I'm trying to think. Aaron Rodgers is the best quarterback in the NFL. And I'm going to tell you the reason why. He may not have the championships, Cuervo, but this guy's been playing with a shoulder injury for the last 6 years. Well, who is the guy had? In reality, you think about it. You take away from this year and last year, Adams. That guy's super bad. Okay, that's a good pick. But you're talking about this guy having to shoulder the bad defense that this football team has had for as many years as it's had, and how you can expect him to take them as far as they can with him really being the only weapon. Now, people want to blame his contract on the reason why. I don't buy into that either, Cuervo. So that being said, I'm looking at this. Aaron Rodgers and his legacy, does he need another Super Bowl to quote unquote cement his legacy, or is he okay?
I mean, I don't think it would hurt for him to get another Super Bowl ring. I mean, I think as of right now, he's pretty much on par with what Brett Favre accomplished in Green Bay. Mm-hmm. If he can bring them another title, then you start really thinking about, okay, well, maybe Rodgers, had the better career as a Packer than Favre did. Mm-hmm. Even though Favre provided so many memories that, you lose count. But, for Rodgers, I mean, the big difference is that he's not a turnover machine. And Favre, was. So I think even with one Super Bowl, with the stats that he has put up, as far as where he ranks all time, I think that would definitely help, get him in whenever he's eligible for the Hall of Fame. Like he's going to be a first ballot. I mean, as much as I, hate him as a Packer, but that's it. Well, I don't hate him as a person. I just don't like the team that he plays for.
Yeah, you would love to have him as a Chicago Bear quarterback, I'm sure.
Well, it'd probably be us playing the 49ers on Sunday and not them. So not those guys in green.
Interesting.
So, yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say. I mean, I don't. Would it help that he gets a second ring? Sure, absolutely. But if he retired tomorrow, with the numbers that he's put up, I don't see how he doesn't make it in the first ballot. Either way. So.
Have a good night, Todd. He's out of here.
I
guess we're on too late for him. What time is it there? 8:52. He's crashing early. So have a good one, Todd. Thanks for joining us. It's just a few things I wanted to go over. By the way, just some news. It comes out here in the Dallas area. So the fact that one Drew Pearson was overlooked, quote unquote, snubbed for the Hall of Fame, and my response to everybody, and believe me, old Sonny's been getting some blowback on his comments because I asked the people who thought this was, I said, did they change the name to the Hall of Good? I mean, listen. Drew, he's made some great catches in his career, but if you look at the numbers and where he is at, if I'm not mistaken, he's in around 22, 23 as far as the number. He only played 9 seasons, if I'm not mistaken, 9 or 10, something like that. But we are talking about the Hall of Fame, not Hall of Good. And
Exactly.
I'm telling you, Cuervo, old Sonny is back. You want to talk about coaches being on a hot seat? Sonny's ass has charcoal grills all over it because but here's one thing I get. I've interviewed, by the way, I have interviewed Drew Pearson. I know Drew Pearson. He knows who I am. And I actually feel bad that I've been saying about what I said about him. But more the fact that just as a commentator and seeing who gets in and why they get in and everything else, I don't necessarily see him as a Hall of Famer. Now, I get why Dallas Cowboy fans are, because this guy is beloved. Yeah, listen, but just because you're beloved in a city, okay, doesn't mean that you're a Hall of Famer. I mean, listen,
very true.
Listen, they even loved Eli Manning for a while up in New York. Okay, so listen, you can be loved but I mean, his legacy is what it is. He is a Dallas Cowboy. Yeah. So all Dallas Cowboys fans think that this is one of the biggest snubs out there. Now, I can understand how he can be disappointed. I get it. I mean, the guy's been trying to get in for a while, so I get it. I completely understand it. And I can understand the heartbreak on it. But, I mean, talking seriously, talking numbers, talking player, talking wide receivers, right now, he is just not there. I get what he does in the community, which, by the way, he is a big time community guy out here. Yeah, and I completely get it. I've heard. And there's nothing but respect when it comes to that. But he is in the Ring of Honor, so he's got some mad love there as well. Hall of Famer Cuervo, Drew Pearson. What do you think? I mean, do you know enough about him to make the statement? Yes or no?
I know some things about him. Do I know everything? No. But what I will say is that I want to say he was part of those teams in the 70s.
He was.
And I think back then he was considered one of the better receivers in all of football. But the other thing I found interesting was that he's the only I don't know if it's only, but he is one of the very few guys that made the all 70s decade team that's not a Hall of Famer.
See, I didn't know that. See, that part I didn't know, because I'll be honest, I don't know who made the all-decade team in the 70s. That is just a little bit before my time. I started dipping in at about 81, 82 before I got really so knowing the actual place of where he was in the all-decade, I'll be honest, I cannot talk about it, but. Just thinking about, by the way, Larry Fitzgerald signing up for the Cardinals for year number 17. Congratulations, I guess.
Yeah, good for him.
I still need Cuervo. You made the best prediction that never came true 6 years ago. Him making his way over the Patriots, but looking at the numbers, okay, when you look at Drew Pearson, and I made this comparison, okay?
Drew Pearson on the all-time list, okay,
Yep.
is as far as and is it fair? I don't know if you want to call it fair if you don't, but he's number 111 as far as guards are concerned in the NFL. That's 111. And you're talking about some guys, just to think about, Golden Tate is ahead of him. Jimmy Graham is ahead of him. And Golden Tate's been in as many years as they are. And and here it is, Drew Pearson, 73 to 83. So he played 10 years. Just Emmanuel Sanders is ahead of him, and he's only played 9 years. Golden Tate, 9 years. Jimmy Graham has played for 9 years. They're ahead of him at 106, 107, and 108. Ozzie Newsome. Now, see, these are some of the names that are down there that have made them. But when I go up a little bit higher, there are a lot of guys that are on this list that are quite a bit away from them that are not in the Hall of Fame. Joe Horn is one. I mean, I'm sure you probably heard Terry Glenn, another Dallas Cowboy, had more yards than him in 9 years. Now, right. and again, but so, what do they say? Numbers don't lie, or whatever the case may be. Yes, they're different times and everything else, but when you're talking Terry Glenn, only a few years, not as many years, but there's other guys that are in these, heading their way up this thing, and he's at 111. Well, Mark Carrier, for crying out loud, is number 72. Terry Glenn is number 70. Tony Martin, okay, is number 61. Now, these are just names that you don't think are Hall of Famers. Do I think Santana Moss at number 44 is a Hall of Famer? No, I don't. Deshaun Jackson, he's going to get in. So, we're kind of getting there. Is Keyshawn Johnson a Hall of Famer? I don't necessarily think so. I get the disappointment, and I get the fact that some people would think that this is a snub. This is not a snub. You look at those names I'm talking about that are ahead of him. And even in the touchdown stats and things of that sort, these guys are way ahead of them. And now, granted, they didn't need as many touchdowns back in the day to be considered for the Hall of Fame and everything. So, so you got to look at it. But let me just hit this because Michael Irvin. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Michael Irvin's number 28. Now he's in the Hall of Fame. There is no question. And you got these guys that we were just kind of talking about, some of them a little bit higher that are not in the Hall of Fame. Anquan Bolden, I think I think that guy is a surefire Hall of Famer. I don't know if I'm right or wrong about that or not. Let's just say that guy is a workhorse, which, I can see what he's done outside of his stats, even though they're pretty damn impressive, over the time that he did it. Now, he played for 13 years. Andre Reed, who was just put into the Hall of Fame, played for 15 years. Steve Largent also just recent as well. Now, these are guys that have been there, but I feel for him because I like him. But Hall of Famer, I just don't think Drew Pearson really kind of qualifies for that.
Yeah, and he can be as upset as he wants. It's just like you said. I mean, that he didn't do enough in his career. He just didn't do enough. I mean, it's Hall of Good, like you said.
Yeah, Hall of Good. Hey, listen, there's nothing to be ashamed of either. I mean, I would understand his passion and wanting to be there. So, but Dallas Cowboy fans really are up in arms. I live in this area, and that's all. So it's been a big story. Andy Reid, really quick, loses that game. Do you think Andy Reid would be the head coach of the Kansas City Chiefs next year?
If Andy Reid loses, is he still?
Who did they play?
Who do they play on Sunday?
Yeah, who did they play?
They play Tennessee on Sunday.
If they would have lost that game, would Andy Reid lost his job? I mean, I don't know. Was Andy Reid really on the hot seat, or I don't know. I think this year. I think them winning against Tennessee, I think might have saved his job. I don't know. Maybe they would have given him another year because listen, the Kinshake Chiefs have been far and above at the quarterback position better. And listen, I can sit there and bash the guy all day long, okay? Because I know how to do it. I'm pretty good at bashing. Okay. Yeah, I'm actually really good at it. I really good. But when you've got that guy, you've got the MVP. I think you got to get to the AFC Championship game, which is where they are. One game away from the Super Bowl. And but I mean, if he doesn't win that game in Tennessee, I wonder if they're rethinking the hierarchy at the coaching position in Kansas City.
I mean, I'm sure you'll hear whispers about it, but it's like I always say, if you plan on getting rid of the coach and going a different direction, you better have a plan to hire someone just as good, if not better, because it's always about, doing better. So,
yep. So, well, geez, I mean, I did not expect to be on as long as we did.
It's almost a full 2 hours.
God, I just love it. And I love getting, kind of, by the way, Jason Garrett, of course, interviewing for the this just makes me laugh. The Giants offensive coordinator job. I love it. I don't know why that just makes me laugh, but
offensive coordinator for who?
The Giants.
Jason Garrett?
He is interviewing for the vacant spot. And
at least he knows now he's not head coach material.
Maybe.
He's just not.
Maybe. Yeah, good point. And but now one name I forgot to mention before we're out of here about your quarterback position in Chicago. And I'm talking about the Brew Man. I'm telling you right now, the guy that I think everybody just completely missed, Teddy Bruschi. I'm telling you, or not Teddy Bruschi, Teddy Bridgewater.
Oh,
Teddy Bridgewater in the news. They're thinking about him. I mean, if I see it, it's in the news, so it's there. It's out there. And I told Indianapolis to go get this guy. You remember? I that was such a bombshell. People didn't even think, and boy, did the timing of that prediction. Sometimes my genius even scares me. I mean, because he goes in there and wins 5 of 6 for the Saints while Drew Brees is out, and proves himself as a pretty damn good quarterback. And he was a damn good quarterback before he had that tremendous injury that just took him out for 2 years in reality, which it killed his career. This guy was taking the Minnesota Vikings onto places where they hadn't been in a long, long time. And it was because of what he was doing. Now, with the opportunity that he was getting up there, hey, it's Andreas. Good to see you, man. Hopefully, hey, join in there. He's the owner of the New Mexico Runners indoor soccer team. Good to see you there. Thanks for joining us. Interestingly enough, that deal about Teddy Bridgewater, I'm telling you right now, I am going to be the biggest Bear fan. I will go out and buy me a Teddy Bridgewater jersey. I don't care what number he wears, and I will wear it on this show if they pick him up. I'm telling you right now. Listen. I love Teddy Bridgewater so much because I think the guy needs the opportunity to be able to prove himself. I think he needs a full season to get the opportunity to do it. And if Minnesota was smart, they'd be thinking about going back and getting him. And that was part of what I was going to bring. If Minnesota does not go back and try to get Teddy Bridgewater, they knew what he was doing before he went into that injury, and what he did for Drew Brees to help them to get where they ended up now. That had nothing to do with Teddy Bridgewater with them losing in the first round of the playoffs. That was all up on the quarterback Drew Brees and the coaching staff. That's what that was. It had nothing to do with Teddy Bridgewater. If the Minnesota Vikings were smart, they'd go back and they'd bring Teddy Bridgewater back and put him back in the Vikings uniform.
Well, I mean, as tempting as that sounds, as much sense as that sounds,
it doesn't make a lot of sense.
And only because of how much they've invested into Kirk Cousins. I mean, you don't.
Wasn't he a free agent now?
I mean, he did last year and this year. I think he was on a 2-year deal, if I wasn't mistaken, unless there was a 3rd-year deal pack that I don't know about.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there was a 3rd year. But you're talking about $84 million guaranteed. Like, not, hey, if this happens, you get this much. No. Everything that Kirk Cousins is making is guaranteed. And to have a guy on the bench,
there it is,
that kind of money, that just doesn't sit well.
Cuervo, listen to this. I just found it. Kirk Cousins on March 15th, 2018, signed a deal with the Minnesota Vikings for a 3-year, $84 million. You're right. They are sunk. They are sunk into this guy. And I don't know. I watched the game. Kirk Cousins was a big reason why they didn't win that football game. And now, granted, you can't put it all on him. I'll be fair, but you still got to have your quarterback play good football.
Sure.
And that just didn't happen.
Yeah. I mean, based on the highlights that I saw, he didn't look comfortable.
Yes.
He made some really bad throws.
Yes.
Just throws that you don't normally see from him. And I know you're like,
Cuervo, can I give you an internet bitch slap? Okay, because come on, that was a typical Kirk Cousins. It wasn't like we haven't seen this before from Kirk Cousins. Now, come on. So can I reach out and give you an internet bitch slap? Come on now.
There.
I reached out and touched someone over the internet.
Yeah, I slapped myself.
Yeah.
Well, okay, look, I know he makes mistakes, but he's also had his moments where he'll throw 4 touchdowns, no interceptions, or maybe 1. But I think that the problem that I think a lot of people have with Kirk Cousins is that he's very inconsistent. And that's the last thing you want from your quarterback is to be inconsistent. So, either he just needs to constantly play better or worse.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, if you're gonna be one, don't try to be the other. Like, if you're gonna suck, you need to suck.
Yep.
You can't suck, and then you have like a tremendous game.
Yes.
And then you go back to, sucking at. I mean, it's just.
Listen, this guy's middle nickname sucks. I mean, I'm sorry, Kirk. I suck Cousins. Oh my God, it's I mean, in Minnesota they listen. 2 years I get with the option of 3, but no, this was full 3. They bought the hook, line, and sinker on him. It'll be interesting to see if they make a move. See if they can. Well, they can't move him, or if they do move him, they're going to have to eat some of the contract. So if that's how that would end up happening, but Teddy Bridgewater, showed us a pretty good backup. I'm looking forward to either one. I would love to see him in Minnesota just because I want to be able to see him complete what he finishes. What he started. I mean, but to back up in Chicago or start in Chicago, that. I'll buy the jersey, man. I mean, now granted, I got to get a big size, but I will go get me a Teddy Bridgewater. I love me some Teddy Bridgewater. I always liked him though, so this shouldn't be a great big surprise in reality, at least coming from me. I always liked the guy, and in the year that he was going, I was going to pick the Minnesota Vikings to win the Super Bowl before that injury. That was, and there's only so many things that I remember. Plays, I can only remember so many few. Unless someone reminds me of them, but the things that stick in my mind, that is one of them. Teddy Bridgewater,
getting injured the year that I really thought the Minnesota Vikings could probably go to the Super Bowl. Win it, I don't know.
Along with a lot of other people, too.
Yeah. Now win it, I don't know, but they were damn primed to make it at least to the NFC Championship game, and they've been on that course ever since. But what has been their downfall in reality is the quarterback. I mean, you can sit here and say whatever you want. That defense has been badass for the last 5 years out there on the football fields in the regular season.
Absolutely.
The only place where they are hurting is the quarterback position, and they bought into Kirk Cousins. Listen, Kirk Cousins sold that, or his agent sold it really, really well. For 3 years, you dive in, and after this playoff game, if you're Minnesota in that front office, you're going, damn, what did we do? we got another year of watching this. Oh my God! Not only that, he's robbing us blind. It's I don't know, but yeah, cool stuff there. I really didn't have anything else. I could have had some other things, but they're pretty much related to the games that are going to be happening on Sunday. So I don't want to kaboom. We're going to do up on Sunday. So we got 2 games to cover on Sunday. We have the Houston Astros situation, the kaboom that's happening over there. We'll bring on the godfather of fantasy sports, Mr. Lenny Melnick, or the goddess of fantasy baseball sports, or maybe both of them. So we'll find out. Maybe we'll get lucky and we'll see a good fight between the two of them. And I'm not just talking a word fight. They've thrown fists before. So I'm hoping to see a pretty good fight too. So so I mean, is anything else? I mean, you've been gone forever. I mean, is there anything you want to cover? I mean, it's been a long 2 weeks. And I haven't my right hand man with me. Todd filled in, and he did a good job. He filled in pretty well with us. That guy knows football. I'll give him that. I mean, geez, that guy knows football. But is there anything that maybe while you were gone, not on the show, that you wanted to talk about that we hadn't had the opportunity to talk about here today?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm just surprised at how well the Tennessee Titans have played in the postseason. I mean, complete shock. Nobody, I don't think anybody expected Tennessee to.
The turnaround move of the year was bringing in Ryan Tannehill and putting Marcus Mariota on the bench. It was the best move of any football team during the season that they made. There is no question about it.
Absolutely. And and we'll see how much more it pays off, but as far as the team itself, like, just to be able to beat the defending Super Bowl champs, and then they go to Baltimore and they beat them.
Oh, and by the way, they didn't just beat them. They handled them. The Baltimore Ravens had not been handled as bad as they got on in that game. I mean, granted, they lost a few games, but the way they lost that game, I think, was very telling as well. Now, I don't know if you've seen the show, and I can't give the video, but I kind of half promised that I would get in some Speedos and do a backflip off a balance beam if Tennessee beat them. And I know, thanks, Big Dog. He put that in my brain. That's how that whole thing started, the Speedo, and because of my kids being in gymnastics. So thanks, Big Dog. Appreciate it. And it stayed in my mind. But that was a pretty, Jimmy Johnson and Bill Cowher. So they're in the Hall of Fame. I agree with one of them. Which one do I agree with?
I would say you probably agree with. Wait a minute. See, you're trying to trick me here. You're trying to trick me here. Now I'm gonna tell you, you should agree with Jimmy Johnson, but I think you agree with Bill Cowher.
Actually, I don't necessarily agree with Bill Cowher. So I do.
Very good. Okay.
I've been arguing with myself over Jimmy Johnson for a long time. I am
surprised.
I've been arguing with myself over it. But I think the fact that Jerry Jones is the one that cut that thing off, because that was a Jerry Jones. You can sit there and they can make excuses and tell all the stories they want. That was a Jerry Jones, cut off at the knees. There is no question. My problem is the tenure time as a head coach in the NFL. It is, but if it was anybody but Jerry, that guy would still be the head coach of their football team after they win a Super Bowl. You don't lose your job after you win the Super Bowl. I don't care who you are.
Yeah,
you don't lose your job after you win the Super Bowl. And matter of fact, that right there. Listen, we can sit here and talk all day long, but that move right there was one of the biggest mistakes in Cowboy history. Now, you want to argue about firing Landry. Listen, Landry was beginning to go down, but the love that everybody had, it's sort of like Drew Pearson. Everybody's got the love for Drew Pearson. Same thing with Tom Landry. But Tom Landry was on the way down. Let's be honest. They didn't make, if I'm not mistaken, and I have to go back and look at the history and I'll check it. But if I'm not mistaken, they didn't make it to the playoffs the 2 years before Jerry let him go. But that was the first year he came in, so that was probably going to happen. But they didn't make the playoffs. But he was an icon. I mean, he has a freeway named after him, and the picture of the freeway is the hat that he wore. So the legacy, but it goes back to the firing of him. Now, granted, they had some obviously great seasons and everything else, but
sure,
you gotta. I mean, when you go back to that move. And you fire the guy that took you to your last Super Bowl after he took you to the Super Bowl. I almost think to myself, you deserve what you get, which is not getting there, because there was two more years right there, Cuervo, without question. And listen, I hate the Cowboys, can't stand them. Okay, but that was 2 more years of Dallas Cowboys dominance right there if they kept Jimmy Johnson as the head coach.
Sure. Yeah, I definitely think
so.
Might have been able to win one more Super Bowl,
one or two,
yeah.
And that was the argument that I decided that yes, I'm going to buy the Jimmy Johnson more than now. Listen, Tomlin, I don't know if I just think there are some things, eventually maybe, I don't know. I don't know. Don Coryell is still not in the Hall of Fame. Okay. All right. So that right there, I think Coryell should have got in before Cowher. And maybe even before Jimmy Johnson, but it is what it is. But that's the only one I disagree with. So.
Yeah. Same here.
Got it. So, well, what have you been watching, by the way? I seen you.
Yeah, just peeking at my my TV.
Yeah, what's on TV? Sports or what are you peeking at?
Yeah, no, just been getting caught up with the news that's been going on outside of sports, obviously.
Really? Wow. Yeah. I didn't know you were a news buff. So, geez, you learn something every day.
Not really a news buff, but
just like to keep up with it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously with the events that have been happening outside the U.S., that's something that I want to pay attention to.
I found that but I'm actually surprised they didn't call you in and say you're coming. Whatever you're doing, stop what you're doing. You're coming back.
Well, and it does happen, but in this situation, no, just because of how I guess soon or how early it's still a fresh situation in reality.
Yes, it is. And you could be called into action at any time, which is one of the reasons why I got Todd. We're going to probably work with Todd and have him bring on his own show. I'm going to try to get a hold of Jonathan and,
That'd be good.
To do a college. If you were interested in doing it with him, I'll try my best. I'll try to make you guys look good. Because listen, all I know is Michigan sucks, and I said it to you last year that Jim Harbaugh shouldn't be the coach of that team anymore, and it just goes to show I was right. But anyway, but I'd love to get Tarvin in, but he's just so busy with what he's
doing. So that's another situation there. So obviously this is just done because we got the time to do it, and some people just don't have the time to do it. And until all that settles down with him, we might not see him for a while. We'll still see him on the chat and over on his Weigh In Sports Talk Facebook page. I'm always on that, reading that up there too. So
for sure.
But that's going to do it for us. So check it out there, and we'll see you Sunday morning. And it's not so early now. You get 2 more hours extra sleep, so you'll get your beauty rest, and you're all rested. You're raring to go and ready to rock and roll.
Yep, absolutely. Yep, ready to talk these games. First one's going to be the AFC, and then
is the AFC? Okay, AFC first.
Yeah, AFC is first, and then it's going to be NFC.
At nighttime. So I kind of like the afternoon game, so you're not up so damn early in the morning, and I think that's a good thing.
Sure.
And it's even better for me because I got the 2 hours, so it works out. So everybody join us on actually join us tomorrow on the Couch Potato Sports Show. As we have Rowlett Eagles varsity basketball, as the Rowlett Eagles will be taking on the Saxe Mustangs in Saxe, right down the street. We'll be bringing you coverage at 7 o'clock for the pregame show, and then 7:30 as the tip. And again, folks, that will vary depending on what the games happen before, if we'll start on time or start late. So be ready for that. As far as folks that are watching locally, Sunday, obviously, that being said, we'll be up on air at 11 o'clock for that one. So everybody will get to sleep in for that one. And then we'll turn it around on Tuesday, bring you more Rowlett Eagles varsity basketball. So that's going to do it for us. Cuervo, God, good to see you. I'm glad to see that.
Likewise, Sonny.
You look damn good. And by the way, so if you want to use the phone here, this worked pretty good. And so if that might work better, I don't know what we'll just work with it. So it was kind of crackly at the beginning and ended up perfect for the rest of the day. So it looks like we did pretty good.
All right, sounds good, Sonny.
All right, so that's going to do it for us here on the Couch Potato Sports Show. We'll catch everybody tomorrow night, 7 o'clock. Actually, but that is on Blog Talk Radio. No video for that, and next time we're on video is Sunday. Everybody have a good one. For Cuervo, the MVP, I'm Sonny Clark, the hardest working man in sports radio. Everybody have a good weekend. Take care. Bye-bye.